Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at a word that seems simple, but it's one that even advanced English learners can trip up on.
Yeah, get can be tricky. Such a common word.
You got that right. But you know what else? It has so many uses.
It does. It's actually really versatile.
That's what we're going to be exploring today. And we're going to
Right.
figure out just how many different ways we can use this little word.
It can be a real challenge for English learners because, on the surface it seems easy, but then you start to use it and you realize there are all these different nuances.
Totally. So where should we start? Well, I guess we should start with the basics.
Yeah.
We all know get is a verb, but it's an irregular verb, right?
Exactly. The past simple is got.
Yep, and the past participle.
Well, that's where it gets a little tricky because it could be either got or gotten.
Right. Gotten is more common in North American English, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
While British English tends to stick with just got.
So for this deep dive, we'll just use got, just to keep things simple. All right, so one of the interesting things about get is that you can use it to express change, almost like the word become.
It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
You can use get to talk about a process or a transition.
So for example, I'm getting tired basically means I'm becoming tired,
Yeah. And you see it in other situations too, like it's getting dark outside.
which just means it's becoming dark outside.
Exactly. It's a more subtle way to talk about gradual changes. Instead of saying becoming, you can just say getting.
So it's not just about changes happening to us,
Yeah.
but also about us causing change.
Right. We're absolutely right. Like if you say, can you get the dog ready for a walk? You're not becoming a dog yourself,
Definitely not.
but you're causing a change in the dog's state. You're making them ready.
Right. So get isn't just about things changing. It can also be about making things change. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many other ways we can use get.
It's true. It really is a versatile word.
It's what makes this deep dive so interesting. So let's play a little game. I'll give you a sentence with get, and you try to think of another verb we could use instead.
Sounds fun. Let's do it.
Okay, here's the first one. I got a new dress for my birthday.
In that case, get is like receive. Someone gave you a dress as a gift.
Okay, good one. How about this? We got a bus to the airport.
That one's a bit easier, I think. Get just means take in this context, like taking a form of transportation.
All right, let's make it a bit trickier. We got to Rome at 5 p.m.
So that would be arrive. You reached your destination, Rome, at 5 p.m.
Nice. Last one. Will is going to get a new coat in the sale.
Get means buy there. Will's going shopping.
So in just those 4 sentences, get has become receive, take, arrive, and buy. That's amazing. Think about how useful this is for English learners.
It is, right? You don't need to memorize a ton of different verbs. Just focus on get and think about the context.
And the meaning will usually be pretty clear. So we've seen how get can express change, and we've seen how it can be used in place of other verbs. But there's another really cool way we can use get to make our English sound more natural. And that's when we use it with a verb ending in ing.
Ah, yes.
This is a great way to make your English sound more fluid and less formal.
I'm all ears. Give me an example.
Okay, imagine you're at a party and you start chatting with someone. Instead of saying, I started talking to Jessica, you could say, I got talking to Jessica.
I feel like that sounds a bit more casual, more like how people actually speak.
Right. It's not so stiff and formal.
Mm-hmm.
And this get plus ing construction is super versatile. You can use it for all sorts of actions.
Okay, so like if your car won't start in the morning, instead of saying I can't start the car, you could say
I can't get the car going.
perfect. So get plus ing is a great way to talk about how actions start. And it can make your English sound a bit more informal, which is always a good thing, I think.
Totally, especially if you want to sound more like a native speaker. Okay, so we've got get plus adjective. We've got get replacing other verbs. And we've got get plus ing verb. What else?
Well, there's also get followed by to and another verb.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
All right, so imagine you missed seeing a friend. You could say, I didn't get to see him.
Meaning you didn't have the chance.
Yeah, or you weren't able to.
So it's about managing to do something or being allowed to do something, not just the physical act of getting somewhere.
Precisely. And on the flip side, you could say, we got to ride the roller coaster twice.
Ooh, lucky you.
Meaning we had the opportunity and were permitted to ride it twice.
I love how get can express everything from disappointment at missing out to the thrill of a roller coaster ride.
It really does cover a lot of ground, doesn't it?
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already with get, but believe it or not, there's still more to come.
Oh, yeah. We've only just scratched the surface.
Great.
But I think we'll save the rest for next time.
All right, sounds good. So until then, keep practicing your get skills.
And remember, pay attention to how native speakers use it.
And don't be afraid to experiment. The more you use get, the more comfortable you'll become with all its different meanings.
Absolutely. Have fun with it.
We'll be back soon with even more on this amazing little word.
Until then.
Bye for now.
Welcome back, everybody. We're continuing our deep dive into the wonderful world of get. And trust me, there's a lot more to explore.
Oh, I believe it. Last time we saw how versatile get can be, replacing other verbs, expressing change. It's almost like a chameleon.
It is, right. It blends in everywhere. But this time we're going to look at how get teams up with other words to create even more interesting expressions.
Like a dynamic duo.
Exactly. Think of it as get plus one.
Okay, I'm ready for the next level of get. What kind of combinations are we talking about?
Well, let's start with something called phrasal verbs. These are combinations of get with prepositions or adverbs.
Okay, like get up or get out.
Exactly. But there are so many more. And they often have meanings that are quite different from the individual words themselves.
All right, give me an example.
How about get away? It means to go on vacation. Like we're trying to get away for a few days next month.
Ah, get away. I like the sound of that. It's so much more casual than saying go on vacation.
Right. It's more like how people actually talk. And that's what makes phrasal verbs so important for English learners.
They make your English sound more natural. Okay, so get away is about vacations. What else?
Well, how about get over? It can mean to recover from an illness, like it took me weeks to get over that flu.
Or it can also mean to move on from a bad experience, right? Like a breakup.
Exactly. I know it's hard, but you need to get over him.
It's amazing how one phrasal verb can have multiple meanings like that.
It is. And it's all about the context. Now let's try another one. Get back. Simple, right?
Yeah, it just means to return.
Exactly. What time did you get back last night?
So we've got get away, get over, get back. Any others?
Oh, plenty more. Get on is
Yeah.
an interesting one. It can describe a relationship with someone.
Oh, like my brother and I get on really well.
Exactly. You can also use it to ask about relationships. Do you get on with your new roommate?
So it's all about how well you interact with someone.
Right. And then there's get together, which means to meet up.
Yeah, like we should get together for dinner sometime.
That's it. So we've covered a few phrasal verbs with get, but there's another category of get combinations that we need to talk about, and those are collocations.
Collocations, what are those?
They're words that frequently appear together, and they just sound right to native speakers.
Okay, so like get and what?
Well, one common collocation is get to know. It's about becoming familiar with someone or something.
Like I'm really enjoying getting to know my new colleagues.
Exactly. And then there's get in trouble, which I'm sure we've all experienced at some point.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I know that one.
It's about facing consequences for doing something wrong.
Don't touch that or you'll get in trouble.
Exactly. And how about get the impression?
Hmm.
No, it sounds familiar. It's about forming an opinion or a feeling about something.
Like I got the impression that she wasn't very happy with the presentation.
Perfect. And of course, there's get the joke, which means to understand humor.
Yeah. We've all been there when someone tells a joke and you're like, I don't get it.
Happens to the best of us. And lastly, there's the classic, get some sleep.
Ah, yes. Everyone's favorite collocation.
So we've got phrasal verbs and collocations, both really important for making your English sound more natural and fluent.
It's amazing how many different ways we can use get with other words. But wait, there's more, right?
Oh, yeah. There's one more category that we need to cover, and that's idioms. Idioms are those fun, expressive phrases that often don't make literal sense.
Oh, idioms. I love those. They're like little puzzles.
They are, and they can be tricky for English learners. But they're also really important for understanding how native speakers use the language.
So what are some common idioms with get? So last time we were talking about idioms with get.
Right, we were just getting started with those.
I love idioms. They're like little nuggets of wisdom, you know?
Yeah. Or sometimes just quirky ways of saying things.
Totally. But they can be tough for English learners.
Yeah, they don't always make sense if you translate them literally.
Not at all. So give me an example of an idiom with get.
Okay, let's see. How about that noise is really getting on my nerves?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. It means something is really annoying you.
Exactly. It's like the noise is physically crawling on your nerves.
Makes sense. And it's so much more expressive than just saying that noise is annoying.
Right. It adds a bit of color to your language. All right, let's try another one. Imagine you're cleaning your room and you want to throw away some old stuff. You could say, I need to get of all these old books.
Get rid of. Get rid of means to throw something away, or just to remove it from your life.
You got it. Okay, here's another one. You're giving advice to someone who's being a bit lazy. You could say, you really need to get your act together.
Do your act together. It's like telling them to get organized and be more responsible.
Exactly. It's a good one to remember, right?
Yeah.
All right, here's a sensory one. Imagine you're exploring a new city and starting to feel at home there. You could say, I'm starting to get a fine for this place.
Ooh, I like that one. Get a feel for it. It's about understanding the vibe of a place. Right?
Yes, you're starting to feel comfortable and familiar with it. Okay, last one. Think about someone who always wants to do things their own way. You could say, she always gets her own
Way. Get your own way.
Yeah.
It's like they always manage to convince people to do what they want.
right. It's about being persuasive, even if you're being a bit stubborn.
Wow, those are some great idioms. I think I'll start using them more often.
You should. It'll make your English sound more natural and colorful, and it'll show that you really understand the nuances of the language.
So we've talked about phrasal verbs, we've talked about collocations, and we've talked about idioms, all with get, of course.
Get is the star of the show today.
But there's still more to explore, isn't there?
There is. Remember how we briefly mentioned get being used in passive sentences?
Yeah, I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah. Well, the passive voice is a way to emphasize the action itself, rather than who's doing the action. And sometimes, instead of using the verb to be in the passive, we use get.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say your friend just got a promotion. You could say, she got promoted yesterday, which is a more casual way of saying she was promoted yesterday.
I see. So it's still a passive sentence because we're focusing on what happened to her, not on who promoted her. But using get makes it sound a bit more informal.
Exactly. And it can also highlight the impact on the person. Like if something bad happened, you could say, he got his bike stolen, which sounds more direct than his bike was stolen.
Yeah, it does. It emphasizes the fact that something was done to him, not just that something happened. Okay, so get can sneak into passive sentences. What else?
Well, there's another way get can be used to express causality, and that's with something called causative structures.
Causative structures. That sounds a bit complicated.
It's not too bad, actually. Think of it this way. Causatives are about making something happen, causing someone to do something, or causing something to be done. And get can help us express these ideas.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more.
So imagine you want your friend to help you with something. You could say, I'll get her to drive me to the airport.
Ah, so you're not driving yourself,
Ah.
but you're causing her to drive you. You're the mastermind behind the operation.
Exactly. And notice the structure of the sentence, get plus person plus to plus verb. That's a common pattern with causatives using get.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about causing something to be done, not just making someone do something?
Get can do that too.
Yeah.
Like if you need to get your car repaired, you could say, I need to get my car fixed, or I need to get my hair cut.
Right, so you're not doing the fixing or the cutting yourself,
Yeah.
but you're causing it to happen.
Exactly. You're the one initiating the action. And sometimes, get in a causative structure can emphasize that something happened to someone, often something negative, like they got their house broken into or she got her wallet stolen.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not just about causing something to happen, but also about the impact it has on someone.
Precisely. It's about how they were affected by the action.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. It's amazing how this one little word, get, can be used in so many different ways.
I know, right? It's a testament to the flexibility of the English language.
And honestly, we've only scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore, but I think we've given our listeners a good starting point.
Absolutely. So, to all our English learners out there,
Yeah.
keep practicing, keep listening, and keep paying attention to how native speakers use get.
You'll be amazed at how often you hear it and how many different ways it can be used.
And the more you use it yourself, the more confident you'll become in your English skills.
Absolutely. So keep exploring the world of get and have fun with it.
That's all for this deep dive, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.